Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Movie Mayhem. Joining me today is my co-host Chase Morgan Hewlett. Chase, hopefully you're staying warm in Montana and hopefully you didn't get like the foot of snow. I know that you guys have snow all the time out there, but like hopefully it didn't just plop it on you in like 7 hours.
Yeah, it's more of a wet cold right now, which I don't like. I think that's worse than like just snow coming down. But when it's like 20 degrees and it's really wet out, it's chilling. So we kind of have that right now. I think it was 30 degrees when I woke up this morning. So yeah.
Hey, fair enough, fair enough. Well, we have a very exciting episode for you guys today. We decided, spur of the moment, to talk about our top five greatest trilogies. And so, Chase, this is going to be an interesting list because, like, you and me have talked films here for quite a long time on this channel. Specifically, I think like 3 years we've been going back and forth with these podcast types, but I don't think we've ever talked about trilogies as far as like what's our favorite. And even so, after the top five, we also have some honorable mentions, and then we have some ones that are super close to possibly being somewhere between honorable mentions, or probably even like the favorite trilogies if it wasn't for like one particular movie. So, Chase, I'm interested to hear your list. But before we get into that, guys, let's do a refresh. It's a brand new beginning of the year. We've seen some films here early in January, and I think that we need to cover our bases as far as that and tell you guys what we've seen in the theaters, what we didn't see, what we'd like to see, and we'll go from there. So, Chase, I'll start because I just got out of a double feature last night by the time of this recording. I saw Iron Lung, and then I saw Send Help, the Dylan O'Brien film Send Help. And I do like Dylan O'Brien from the Maze Runners. His chemistry in this movie, really, really good. Iron Lung, of course, is the Markiplier, the big YouTuber making his first feature film, in which is a horror based off the video game. So, Chase, those are two that I've recently seen. I'll give my reviews in a little bit, but Chase, what have you recently seen?
Um, I saw Hamnet last week, based off of Shakespeare's kid dying. It's based off the book by Margaret, no, Maggie O'Farrell, excuse me. I have it up over here. Um, it's about William Shakespeare and his wife dealing with the grief of their son dying from the plague, and then he goes off to London and uh writes Hamlet. So it's a lot about grief, it's a lot about loss. And it was probably one of the best performed films that I have seen in a long time. Like, and I mean a long time. Like it's the way this film is how it flows and the performance and the acting and the cinematography. Everything about this movie is gorgeous. You can be a Shakespeare fan like I am or not be a Shakespeare fan, which I'm assuming you aren't. And I still think you would really enjoy this film. It's really well done and it's really beautiful. It, I like the shot choices. I'm really into longer takes and shots and uh, I like those slow burn type films, which I wouldn't consider this kind of a slow burn, but it definitely has those longer shots at times. And I like those shots because they kind of take you into the scene more instead of cutting back and forth constantly. But I just thought this film did a really good job at everything about it, and it should win Best Picture. It should. I think it's gonna do pretty good in the Oscars, but I just haven't seen a movie where every character did 100%. Every actor performed very well, and I haven't seen that in a long time because we're kind of used in movies now. Just I don't know. I don't think the performances are that well, and it seems like people overperform at times. But I just thought this was really generic, very realistic. You're dealing with loss, you're dealing with someone losing a child to the plague, and it just was a really well made film. So I would give it a try if you're a big filmmaker or like movies. Give this movie a try. It's really, really well done. And it's in theaters now. It's one of those that didn't have a huge worldwide release. It's kind of I like to consider those like independent films, and I think sometimes those are why I think those are the best films. There's all these fancy things flying, everything, and action packed and whatnot, but these are the type of films that inspire me to make movies. And after that movie, I was just so pumped about just making a movie in general, but it's just it's very inspiring and it was just really good. So I could sit and talk all day about it, but I would give it a try, Donnie and viewers. It's beautiful.
Was that a December release, so it's ready for this year's Oscars in 20, like in the coming up here, or is it like a January release that they're ready for like next year's Oscars?
It came out last year.
Okay, so they are prepping for what could potentially be some awards in this like in the next month. Very cool.
Yeah, it came out in December. And it's already won. Um, I just want to list what it's nominated. It's nominated for 8 Academy Awards. And it won Golden Globe for Best Picture because the Golden Globes just came out. It won for Best Picture, Best Leading Actress, and then was nominated for the other ones. But um, by looking at the film, I think she's going to win Best Actress. And I really hope it wins Best Picture because it's well, out of the list that they gave of like what is nominated, this one definitely should win that. But
Like,
it's definitely beautiful, especially if you like cinematography, like I know you do. It's really cool to see the shots and the coloring and everything. It matches really well.
well, you know, Chase, last time we did a Movie Mayhem podcast, we talked about our best and worst and did all these different awards. And we did talk about, hey, if you are gearing up for an award cycle, you want to be the last to perform. So I think holding out till December to release this film and being fresh in the voters' minds, I think probably played a big role in that too. And that's good for them. That's good strategic timing and getting this out around the holiday season. Again, I don't know if it's a feel good film. I don't know if you would say that at all, but like it is a story in which takes you on the journey and through loss and through a whole bunch of different emotions. So credit to them.
I would put it as I wouldn't really think of it as a feel-good film. I would look at it as a beautiful film, accepting loss, seeing someone grow out of a tough time in their life. I think it's a beautiful film. And it's especially when you get to the end and you see where it was leading. It's beautiful. And it was filmed in sequence, which I think is cool as well. So they literally filmed it scene one all the way to the end. Um, and if you want to see how well someone can act, Shakespeare is where it's at. Like that is the best way to see how someone can act because I think when you have someone perform Shakespeare monologues or in a play or whatnot, you really see how well they can do because Shakespeare is so good at monologues and how he uses words and how emotion comes out of those monologues. And it's really beautiful. So, um, yeah, I think it's going to do good. I hope it does well. It really deserves it. But we've seen Oscars in the past where they got paid off, and I don't think the right film won. That's just my opinion. But it's nice to see independent films and these type of films make it into those type of categories because we're so used to Marvel or all these new releases and remakes and everyone just wants to see action and cars transforming into robots and like that type of stuff, which is fun. It's entertaining, but I like film for the art aspect. So this is a perfect example of it. And I enjoy that more because it's really beautiful. You can really see the heart in this movie.
And one of the things which is going to be like a hard segue, but an easy segue because you have Shakespeare, which we just talked about this with this film, and then you talk about the older style and how it's shot and how it feels from like back in the day, and then you jump straight into my next film that I saw, which was Mercy, Chris Pratt's AI thriller, which leaves you with more moral questions than it does feeling good at all by the end. Which Chris Pratt always plays kind of like the I would never say he's ever been a villain in his movies. He's always kind of the upbeat, lighthearted character in most of them. But in this one, he's not the villain either, but he plays more of a gray character. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like Chris Pratt as a gray character that's done some things in the past. That's like also kind of that I don't know if deadbeat dad's the right word, but like something like that has been put through alcoholism and abuse and like other things that he's done. And you kind of see Chris Pratt dive into maybe the angry side compared to what we've ever seen him. I don't think
Yeah.
he's ever got angry at Star-Lord. I've never seen a Star-Lord where he's physically upset and yelling and screaming and punching. But it really showed a different level to his acting, but the film in general, produced by Amazon, with produced by Amazon, which is an interesting. You got the AI already, and it's an Amazon film, and it also deals with kind of a moral question. So I would actually tell the audience to check that out because it actually is one of the best thrillers and action films that I've seen in a while. Now, that's
Yeah.
not saying anything away from Jason Statham's film that I haven't seen in theaters yet. I know it feels like every January, February, Jason Statham puts out a film early in the year, and it's just like it's like I'm a working man, and I get it. So, but yeah, definitely check out Mercy. I enjoyed it, and so did the friend group that I went with.
We're seeing that today, actually.
Very nice. So when this
Definitely.
recording drops, Chase will have already seen it, so he'll have to give on the next episode an update to what he thinks about Mercy. But Chase, definitely check that out, and I think you guys are going to look forward to it. Unless you deem it like I gave you the recommendations of weapons, because I get a text from your wife, Chase, after she watched Weapons with you, and what the heck did I request from you guys? I'm just like, hey, I thought you'd like it because of the storyline bounces. I really did. So, but my bad.
No, my wife is very opinion. You watch a movie with her, yeah, she's really good at commentary. She'll tell you if she doesn't like someone, and she'll continually hate on that person. And every movie she says ill. Every movie. At some point, whether it's a cartoon or weapons, she'll say ill at some point. And I don't know if it's disgusting or she just doesn't like someone. I don't know. I've thought of recording her watch a movie. It just to see her reaction, because yeah. Yeah.
The purest of reaction videos,
Yeah, she's
uncensored
very,
opinions.
oh yeah, she'll tell you what she thinks. And which makes me nervous when I show her my movies. I'm like, is she gonna tell me what she thinks? And she does. So I'm like, all right, well,
At least you got time to like correct them, though. At least if you show it to her soon enough when it's in the editor room, Chase, you can at least make some changes. It's a little bit too late once it's already in the film cycle circuit.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Um, to go through, Chase, I don't know. Did you have any more films that you had seen recently that you wanted to talk about? Because I do have a few more to mention.
Um, I keep track of what I watch. So let me look. You tell me what you thought of Iron Lung, because I am curious, because I like Markiplier. I think it's cool that he's actually getting to the film industry, let's just say. Because I really like his streams. He has great like chemistry. He's just a great person to watch. So I'm curious on what you thought of that movie.
Let me start by saying the first film that we saw that day, like I said, was Send Help. And I'm only starting with this because I think where I'm going to lead is relevant. So Send Help with Dylan O'Brien. Um, it was not as it was not as horror driven as I thought a Sam Raimi film would be. I expected more to it, but it was as simple. Like both films I saw yesterday were very, very simple. Send Help was you're stuck on an island and it's literally the whole time you're on this island. And you think things are going to happen on the island. You think it's going to go this way, this way, this way, and it just doesn't. And at the end, you're kind of like, well, I felt like it was an M. Night Shyamalan film. It was one of those weird moments where it's just like, it didn't take off. Sam Raimi, of course, threw his little jump scares in the middle of nowhere when they shouldn't be, but it just catches you off guard because it's just like, jump scare in the middle of nowhere. So
Yes.
I did end up giving that a 7 out of 10 on my scale. I was like, it's an enjoyable movie. You can put in the background. You can just keep it there, flowing, maybe occasionally put it on, in the background. Um, I am going to separate Iron Lung into two different categories, Chase. I love
Okay.
Markiplier. Okay. I didn't grow up with Markiplier like a lot of other people did. I discovered Markiplier later on in life with the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise as of recently. So I'm new to it, but I do appreciate himself, his personality, being the YouTuber, being the commentary artist that he is. He put his heart and soul into this film. I think whoever he got for cinematography, I don't know the guy's name, brilliant. The score, brilliant. The amount of blood they had, brilliant. The idea that you could take a video game, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, is that really the first video game that he should have taken from a video game to a movie that he's played because it's not his most popular video and a lot of other things like that. I would say that for a low budget independent filmmaker, what are certain things that we look for, Chase? We look for little characters, something that you could do action, and also in one setting if you can. And literally the whole time it is him in the submarine, which is like, okay, we got to build the submarine. We got to do the soundstage, whatever, blood, but it's very simple, easy to film. With that being said, I was very, very disappointed leaving the theater. I think a lot of people around us were very like, oh, okay, this would have been I mean, this is kind of just a movie where for 2 hours or so, you're sitting there and you're just like you're waiting for something to happen, and nothing really happens. And
Hmm.
that's not a discredit to Markiplier. I think that maybe if anything, I'm going to critique Mark on. It's not the way he acted. I think he started to sell things later on in the film. But I would say that he might be needed because it's written and directed by him. I think maybe he needed another writer in there to be like, hey, how can we cut this down a little bit? How can we make it a little bit quicker, a little bit more intense? Maybe do some scenes or shots outside the sub. There are some flashback scenes in there, but I feel like it just needed something else. But at the end of the day, I'm driving back and I saw it with friends and I called up my buddy on the way back home. I was like, this would have been a good 30-minute short film. Like if you trim out the hour of inside the submarine, like just where there's slower moments and going through kind of like you would in a video game. If you trim out the hour and make it a 30-minute short film, it's probably one of the best short films that you've ever seen.
Hmm.
I just don't think you needed it to be an hour plus.
Yeah, it says it's
Uh,
2 hours and 7 minutes.
Yes, and you are going to feel all 2 hours and 7 minutes of it. So just audience be prepared. But if you support Markiplier and you want to see him do more stuff, go see it. I kind of give him more of a pass because like if this was a Marvel film, I think we'd be lambasting it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So we do give him more of a pass because it's awesome that he is able to self-finance it. It's awesome that he's able to do the kind of independent work. He's calling up all these theaters overseas, trying to get it in the box office, like in China and Asia and North Korea. Like that stuff's cool. So we kind of give him a pass as far as that, and you can tell he puts the passion into it. I will say, if I gave Send Help a 7 out of 10, I ended the day with Iron Lung at like a 5 out of 10. So,
I'm curious. It doesn't tell you how much the budget was. Funny. That's
y-
interesting.
it's if I had to guess, Send Help I think was like 40 million, which I still think was a lot for that movie, even, but like good for them for keeping it under 50. I would say Markiplier maybe. I would hope 2 to 3 mil, maybe up to 5 mil without marketing. And that would be my hope. Now, because if if
Hmm.
if he spent like 5 mil, let's just say he spent 10 million on it and somehow got like the funding and stuff like that. If he spends 10 mil, I think his fan base is going to easily push him into the green. Like I have no issue with that, like that film making about 20 to 30 mil at the box office. I think that's a good area for that movie. So I think it's going to net profit on it, but I would be very shocked if he spent over that.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out.
And hopefully my review, because this is probably coming out within like 2 days, this podcast, hopefully my review doesn't deter people from going to see it. I want you guys to go experience it. I want you guys to go support it. Chase, I want you to go watch it. Because there might be things that you take away from it. For me, it was cool to watch Markiplier. It was cool because the people that did the effects on the blood, the cinematographer, the sound designer, all amazing. And Markiplier did a really good job selling his character for what little story that they had.
Hmm. I'll have to check it out, honestly.
I
Yeah, I'm
know it's not the
curious
review
on
that I
what
think
my
everybody
reaction
wanted
is.
today, but unfortunately, like I was for the Five Nights at Freddy's audience, this is going to spin off a little bit, Chase, and we'll get back into like the next film. Um, for the Five Nights at Freddy's audience, one of my buddies going in was like, okay, is this film that Markiplier is putting his heart and soul into going to, um, is it going to pay off for the missed appearance in both Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and Five Nights at Freddy's 2? Because the reason why he said on his YouTube channel that he wasn't making a cameo in those films is because he already had scheduled things with this film. Which again, I'm cool with, whether you want to take 2 days off, fly to LA, the do an appearance in the Five Nights at Freddy's, or I'm cool being like, hey, I already have a casting crew scheduled on this day. It's a conflict of interest. I'm not just going to tell everybody to go home. We're not going to reschedule this. We're going to stick with schedule. And I admire both aspects of it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think 5 minutes of Markiplier and Five Nights at Freddy's franchise is better than 2 hours of Markiplier in a submarine.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I have no comment. I'm just curious. I'm curious now. But everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah. I mean,
I
like
mean,
I said, there's nothing against him. I said, if anything, people should be critiquing of like, oh, what can you do better for the next one? This shouldn't be like a whole tear down campaign of like ruining his hopes and dreams and like ripping his heart from his chest. Like, nope. And because it really
yeah.
was not that bad. I have seen, like, I will say this: My 2 out of 10s are reserved for the Last Jedi's of the world. They're reserved for the Fantastic Four remakes of the world. Like it was not that bad. So he did better than a Star Wars film and then a Marvel film. So a 5 out of 10 is still better than what they've done.
Yeah, it's very true.
Anyways,
Very,
before we go
very
down
true.
that route, Chase, please take it away to another film.
I saw Anaconda with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, so I saw that movie too. So what I'll say in little terms is I did like the pairing. I thought the pairing was actually good. Now, Jack Black films are Jack Black films. I would say somewhere it's still a 7 out of 10 to 6.5 out of
Yeah,
10,
yeah,
something like that for me.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was needed, though I did enjoy there were funny bits that were really hilarious, but I just wanted more Snake. And film these type of films, you get a lot more people than the creature because you're trying to learn these people and care for them. And that's mainly why they do that. But I just want a little bit more Snake. And the cameos that came in, I didn't really care that Ice Cube was in it. I didn't care that J-Lo was in it at the end. Spoiler alert. Um, I just, I don't know. It just wasn't needed for me. But I did find the idea of it kind of funny. Of like, hey, we're gonna go make a movie and then find out that we're kind of in the real thing. Kind of remind me of Tropic Thunder type film. Um, but I don't know. I didn't need it. Though I laughed pretty hard at one scene. I mean, my friend and I, we were chuckling pretty good. So, I mean, if that's what the movie was meant to do, then it did what it was supposed to do. But I don't need to see it again. It's not one of those comedy movies that I'm going to go back to make myself feel good. Um, I like Jack Black and don't like him at the same time. It's like one film I watch of his, I'm like, okay, that's very annoying. And then I watch Minecraft and I'm like, this is hilarious. And I don't know why, like it's just like that. I grew up with him as well, like School of Rock and Shadow Hal and those older films of his. He's in King Kong, which is one of my favorite movies. So I obviously do enjoy him. I think he's a funny person, but I think you get too much of him and it's like, all right, let's calm down. Which I didn't really feel that with this movie, so that was good. But um yeah, I would be like a 6, 7 out of 10. I wouldn't see it again. But if
Yeah.
you like Jack Black and Paul Rudd, this would be the movie for you because they both are really well. They work really well together, and I like that.
And one of the things too is I think with being filmmakers, I think there's something that when you sit down, like that one shot when that gets them back into the film career and like, oh, we really need to make this. We're getting older in life and we want to do something. One final shot. I think that's relatable to all of us, but specifically for filmmakers. I mean, I could tell you when I made my first film, and going back and watching it now, it's kind of like now they sat around the TV with the VHS tape playing it. But like,
Yeah,
we're over here like we can relate to things that we've done back then and look back and like laugh and have those memories. And sometimes even how things didn't look the greatest. And we worked with the budget we had. We worked with our friends. We didn't know how to use a camera. They weren't in focus. The sound is awful. We've all had those experiences. And I think that's something that like made me smile at the beginning. But you're
yeah.
right. I mean, outside the pairing, Jack Black plays his same character in almost every film outside of King Kong. Give respect to King Kong, like you talked about, because he
Hmm.
does change his persona and he went for a more serious role. But outside
Yep.
of that one, Jack Black plays the same character, but for some movies it works, some movies it doesn't.
Yeah. 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 I would agree.
I saw The Housemaid again. Doubled up
Of
on that
course
one,
you
Chase,
did.
because a friend group. Well, actually, I third wheeled going into that one. So, my friend took his girl, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come join us?" I was like, "I don't care. I can see Sydney Sweeney for another time. Why not?" Um, 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I saw. Um, I will say this. I don't know. Did you watch the first one, Chase? The 28 years later. The
I did.
Okay. Did you see the second one or no?
I have not seen the second one, and I'm not. I don't really care to. I will probably, but I don't need to go to theaters to see it.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep it spoiler free anyway, like we've been doing. But I will say, my friend took his girlfriend also to see it with us in the group, and she had never seen the other ones, and she didn't see specifically like part one of this. So I think when I
Okay.
saw part one, like me and my friend that saw it together, we were like, what did we just watch? And like I think that was like it was a weird last year as far as seeing that for the first time, being introduced to the franchise. This time we kind of knew what to expect going into part two. So I think it made part two more enjoyable. Meanwhile, she was on the other end, like, what did I just watch? So
Yeah.
it's always fun to see people's reactions. But that really wasn't a bad film. I think it was better than part one because I think part one was just like there was so much they threw at you, and you're just like, what is going on?
Yeah. I remember watching 20 Days Later, like when it first came out. So I assumed that 28 years later, I don't know. It wasn't a disappointment, but it kind of was. I mean, we've talked about it before, but I don't know. I just didn't care to see Bone Temple. I don't know why. I kind of have a feeling of what it's going to be, and I just didn't really want to have that in my heart watching it. Um, what was your rating on it? You gave it like a seven, six?
I was probably more still 6.5. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as Sent Help or whatever. So I probably would keep it down there at a 6.5.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I think the other one, if I rated, I think I gave it a 6, and it's like a step up from part one. So
yeah, yeah. So, um, though that one actor, I don't remember his name, he's in Sinners as well. He does really good. So I have to give him
yeah.
some.
O'Connell, I believe is his name. I think it's Jack O'Connell. I'm not sure. But either way, fantastic. I actually like him as an actor, and he's in everything right now. Just like Ralph Fiennes is too, because Ralph Fiennes is in the Hunger Games trailer as Snow too, which I'm just like, boy, that guy's in everything right now.
He's been in everything for a long time. So,
I'm trying to read through the list. I think that is all that I have. Is that all that you have to catch the audience up on?
yeah, I've only seen those two
Okay.
currently until today.
No Fathom events in the early year. I get it. Chase will
Uh,
keep us updated throughout Fathom events as we go through the year.
yes, I don't know what's on right now. The only thing that I think they're playing is Labyrinth with David Bowie and the Henson.
Oh, the
Jim,
Labyrinth. Yeah.
yeah,
I never saw that one. It's like a cult classic. I've just never bothered to
yeah.
dive into that movie.
I think I pronounced the name wrong, so forgive me, fans. Yeah, it's dark fantasy. You either like dark fantasy or you don't like dark fantasy.
Modern
Kind of
or
like never.
older day Tim Burton basically is what it comes down to. I would say. Picture a film that Tim Burton would
Yeah,
do, and that would be that.
but Tim Burton's more of like he goes more to like the gothic horror theme. It seems like dark fantasy's I think it's a cool genre, and I think if they kind of brought it back and did I think if like Robert Eggers did like a dark fantasy type thing, I think it would be really, really cool. It just yeah, came from the 80s, so it's not gonna have the best effects and you're gonna have to like never ending story, you're gonna have to get past some some choices they made when it came to filming, but I think it's just the theme of it that's really nice.
Chase, I think on a future podcast, because I know we're going to dive in here to perfect trilogies in our opinion, but there's so many things, and I think all three trailers ended up popping up yesterday in the same cinema, but for some reason, which is a good thing, maybe like I said, future podcast topic, they're bringing back kind of this monster verse. Because you have The Bride coming out this year, you have the new trailer for Dracula dropping, and then you have the new Mummy movie coming out, which is a horror film. So it'll be fascinating to see kind of what the year brings as far as like monster creatures, because it seems like we're getting hammered with them here early in the year.
I saw the Dracula trailer and I like the book and I'm wondering if they're going to follow the book or they're going to do what they did with the new Frankenstein and kind of go away from it and do their own twist. And I hate when they do that, just follow the book, but the Dracula book is told in journal entries, so I guess that's kind of hard. But still, there's a way around it, but I don't know. I'm just some of these cult classics like Frankenstein that I really love, they always do something. They do the every film, it seems like they do the same thing. And bring a character out more, or change something, and just make a film. Like, do what The Godfather did. Do exactly what the book is written, like word for word, exactly.
Mhm.
And they don't. They never do. They like for Frankenstein. This is my pet peeve of Frankenstein. They always change it. They never. They always make the female. They either make the monster's bride a big deal, or they make Victor Frankenstein's bride a big deal. And it's just in the book, it's not a thing. The monster's bride got destroyed before it even came alive, so it never really became a thing. And then the monster got mad about that and then killed Victor's bride. And that's in the book, and that's what happens. But they always don't do that. It irritates me. Anyway.
Well, no, I think that what they're trying to do is they're just trying to put a different twist on it to tell a different story. But sometimes by doing that, you don't tell the best story.
Yeah, and I get that. I'm a big fan of the book, so I'm on automatically if they're gonna veer away from the movie, or excuse me, if they're gonna kind of veer away from the book, it's just gonna bother me. It's
Yeah.
just how it is. If you're a fan of something and they kind of change it on you, you just aren't gonna like it as much. That's just how it is.
Yeah. And for this film cycle this year in 2026, it's going to be really interesting because I feel like the two films I think you could give a third respective one in this category. I feel like we're going to figure out what films kind of hit or miss or really pop up out of nowhere to be like these hits. Because right now, I would say going into 2026 here, you got the two big films that everybody's kind of anticipating. You got The Odyssey from Nolan, and then you got Doomsday. I would say that Dune Part 3 is also on that list, but I think because they're dropping the same day, I think more Doomsday is going to be the bigger one in that one, which
I
is
don't
still an
know.
absolute sin. I can't believe that they dropped on the same day as Dune. That to me is
Well,
that to me is such a joke, but that's Marvel for you.
all I can say in that is Marvel kind of has a bad rep on their past films. Dune does not. Dune has made fans very happy. I mean, there's going to be fans that don't like it because of the book, which I'm reading right now. It's just not going to be this like word for word, which, I'm not a big fan of the books. I'm still reading it currently, but the movies have been really good. So I think Dune Part 3, I think Dune Messiah would do better than Doomsday. That's just my opinion. And if it doesn't do as well, it's for the wrong reason.
Yeah. No, I get that. And I think that's actually a good place to start because I'm going to say this. We're talking about the perfect trilogies now, everybody. Dune has a potential to be one of those perfect trilogies, but we can't give it the title yet because we haven't seen it. So if this episode was coming out in early 2027, maybe it's on Chase's list, maybe it's on my list. Who knows? But it's not there yet. So, Chase, why don't I kick it off because I'm sure it's not on your list? A
Okay.
perfect trilogy. I remember they're up to five right now, but we're gonna take the one through three.
Okay.
Toy Story. Toy Story 1 through 3 is a perfect trilogy. Yes or no?
I can agree. It's not on my list because I didn't think of it, to be honest with you. But yes, I would say Toy Story is good.
See, and I think they hit that, and I don't really need to sit here and recap Toy Story because I feel like everybody's seen it. So I'll do my quick little spiel and be like, hey, I think from when it started to matching up the same age as the 90s kids that grew up watching it, and then ending it with the whole getting older, leaving for college and stuff. I think that not only did they handle the films properly, I think they handled the time gap properly too. And I think
Yeah.
that also makes it a whole lot better.
Yeah. Same. Toy Story 4, I thought was really good, but it wasn't needed. I think 3 ended very well. Like a nice closing end of the book, close it, you're done. I like when things end. I've talked about that before. So when they continue it, it's to me it's just for money grab. It's not for the art of it. Good things end. Same with TV series. Like if there's a good spot to end, just leave it. Because I think some of the best art when it comes to films are things that don't last. And you appreciate it more when it's not something that is continuous all through the decades and whatnot. So I would agree with you on that.
All right, Chase, throw out one of
Five.
yours.
Is that your number five?
Yeah, we'll put it at number five. I think number five is a good spot for that.
Okay. Okay. For me, this is hard. This was really hard because it's not just you picking three movies with three trilogies. Um, they all have to be perfect or really good. So I threw Indiana Jones in there. The first three, not the other ones. The Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. I think all those three movies are really good. I think they get better as you go. And I think that's a good example of a really good trilogy. Uh, Indy's a very likable character. If you haven't seen these movies, you need to just go watch them. I grew up with them. My sister loved these movies, so I just got into them with her, and they were fun. They're family friendly, entertaining. You like the characters, especially Last Crusade when the dad comes along. It's just really fun. And you get a young Harrison Ford who is very charming to watch. He has that grumpy dad attitude in a lot of his movies, and he's just really good at it. And I think that's just who he is in person. I think he's just that grumpy person. But you tend to like those people because they're really honest and um, they're like chaotic neutral if you're looking at it in that sense. So, but I like Indiana Jones. They're always fun. You hear the music, you just get pumped, and uh, I've always been a fan of like traveling in history, and so that just kind of fits in with the archaeology and finding the lost ark or whatnot. Or the Holy Grail, the cup, everything. I just always got into it. So yeah, Indiana Jones, I think is a good trilogy.
Number four, Chase. This is actually the conversation that kickstarted this last night between me and my buddy. We were talking about a perfect trilogy, and not a lot of people respect it because I think a lot of people, and this is kind of a obviously what I'm about to say is debated. It's number four on my list because I
Okay.
don't think a lot of people like the second one, but I do love the second one. I think it all flows really well. I gave number four Pirates of the Caribbean. I love the first three movies, and I understand two gets a lot of hate from a lot of people. But honestly, two is one of my favorite films as far as Pirates of the Caribbean. So I know that that's going to be debated, but Pirates of the Caribbean, number four.
That is a good one. That's actually on my honorable mentions because when I wrote this out, then I remembered that and I was like, ah. And you know what's funny? I just watched those. Like my wife and I just watched all three of them. Like I think 2 nights ago we finished at World's End. And I agree. I think the second one's the best. You get introduced to Davy Jones. It flows very well. It's the most entertaining. And I think it's the last film that didn't make Jack look like an idiot. Even in World's End, he kind of looks like an idiot in some stakes. It's like they realized that people really like the funny side of Jack. So on the third one, they made him, he was clever, don't get me wrong. But after that, the movies, he just got dumb to where in the last two, he's just an idiot. And that's not Jack. He's not an idiot. He just plays this character very well. And so I agree. I think Dead Man's Chest is the best one out of the three, but I think they're all three really good. I think they flow really well. I'm just not big on Elizabeth Swann.
Yeah.
Like even watching them again, I just don't care for her character. She just annoys me.
No, and I completely get that. But like, and again, the I think again, two is the highly debated because like there are people out there that hate the second one. And like I said, I'm on a different opinion. You're on a different opinion than most other people. Even my buddy is on a different opinion. Like number two, man. Like if we're talking about a filler, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, it was a filler movie to get us to three. I've never seen a filler movie in a franchise do a lot better. Like if
Yeah.
that's what we're gonna count it as. But yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean right there at number four. I think it's under I think it's kind of what we call that underrepresented, underrespected kind of in that essence of like top franchises. And again, most of these we talk about like Toy Story, like early on in my list, Toy Story 1 through 3, Pirates of the Caribbean 1 through 3, because there's going to be some films probably coming up that it's just like, yeah, they've continued on and it just hasn't gotten better. So
Yep.
Chase, you're
That
number
is
four.
my number four. This was a hard one because, man, this is just hard. I'll quit saying that, but this was hard, people. I think number four, I have to put The Man with No Name trilogy. So that's an old Western trilogy. A Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think when you watch those films, they just get better. Good, the Bad, the Ugly is a really good film. This is Clint Eastwood, probably his best, I would say. out of everything he's ever made. I think this is the Western trilogy that is really good. This is a trilogy that really inspired Tarantino to make his movies. Um, I can't name who directed these films, but if you want a good trilogy that's a little bit older, this would be a good one for you guys to watch. It is really well done, and I think my favorite thing about this trilogy is the shots and how they introduce characters. They have very interesting shots, and it really tells you a lot about the characters and whatnot. And as a film person, as you and I both are, I think you would appreciate these films because they are really well shot, really well done. And it's a cool take on Western culture and how the cowboys were back then. And it has that famous scene where you just see the eyes of each character. And if you listen to the soundtrack, you've heard the soundtrack many times. I think a Dodge commercial used the Ecstasy of Gold, which is a very popular song. Look it up after we're done. Um, that's from this movie. So I would say that all three movies are pretty well perfect. And I've been trying to get my wife to watch them, but that has not been easy. I just have to put it on and she'll have to deal with it. But yeah, The Man with No Name trilogy. Check it out.
I will have to also watch that because I am not familiar with it. So the fact, again, most of these lists, Chase, when we have these podcasts, hopefully, like our listeners, you kind of hear something new that maybe you might want to check out or like do a name drop reference. And I think that's the cool part about like cinema that you can like all have different forms of art and like and appreciate things. I'm gonna check it out as well. So if we're in the comment section and you haven't heard of it or listening to this, go check it out with me. This is where we're gonna have a repeat now because 3 is Indiana Jones. So I did have
Oh,
Indiana Jones on the list. So don't
yeah.
really have to talk a whole lot about it. You had Harrison Ford in his prime. And
Mhm.
if I'm going to foreshadow, it's probably not the only thing that he's going to be on the list for. So, Chase, what would it be? Number 3 we're still on for you. So number 3 for Chase.
My number three, I had to mention the Dark Knight series. This Batman, I had to mention. I think those three movies are really good. I'm not as big on Dark Knight Rises as I am, of course, with the Dark Knight. But I think that trilogy is a really good trilogy. I think they do improve, but it's hard to beat the Dark Knight. So when the third one in that series came out, it was good and very well filmed and everything, but it's just it's hard to beat the Joker. It's really hard to beat that movie. I think that's probably one of the best superhero movies ever. So, but I had to bring it up because it is really, really good. So, yeah, Dark Knight series for me.
Again, another Christopher Nolan mention because Christopher Nolan knows how to direct and we love him. For number 2, this is where Harrison Ford reappears. It's Star Wars to me. Now, Chase, don't know if Star Wars is on your list. We'll find this out here in a little bit. But however, I did a different thing when I sent you the notes ahead. I was like, this is my trick. Okay. The
Okay.
perfect trilogy, obviously, is the original trilogy 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
However, the best 3 Star Wars films in order are 3, 4, and 5, right there in the middle. That's the best trilogy. Episode 3, 4, and 5 together sandwiched. There it is. Congratulations,
That
folks. That's a perfect trilogy.
that is very true. That's actually my number two as well. The original trilogy is what I put, but three, four, five, you cannot beat that. Yeah, Revenge of the excuse me, Return of the Jedi. I do enjoy the movie. I just don't enjoy it as much as the other two. Um, but I still really like them. So yeah, I have to agree with you. But yeah, you can't. Episode three absolutely annihilated. It's the centerpiece of that whole thing, which I don't know if people
I
understand. Oh,
mean, Chase, think about it this way. If, okay, because I know a lot of the people in the original trilogy, a lot of like the critiques and the haters of the Star Wars universe, like don't like the fact that the Death Star got blown up twice. So I understand. But if you take 3 through 5, you only see it blown up once still. So guys, I'm just saying, all the
it's
things
true.
change.
It's true. And the episode three is heavily based on Macbeth,
Yeah.
which is a play I really like. So that's really cool as well. But no, I no. Star Wars is definitely gonna be up there. I grew up with it. You can see my R2 right there. And it's a series that my sister and I have always watched, always loved. R2 is probably one of my favorite characters in all of film. Especially when he comes in the new ones, because he just saves the day at the end of Force Awakens by giving them 99% of the map, and he didn't have to do anything. So that's my boy right there. But yeah, original series, you cannot beat it.
And I'm going to make an assumption. We all have the same number one. I would make an assumption, but I don't know because this might not be true. But
Hmm.
I'm gonna lead with Peter Jackson
Okay.
and say Lord of the Rings for number one. And I'm going to assume maybe we do have the same or we don't.
I think we do. You
Okay.
cannot like there I can't think of a trilogy that's better than that one.
I mean, even with the television commercials to make it last 5 hours per film, it's still better. That's how I look at it. It's still such a much better. And I mean, the fact that they were able to pull off some of the shots and how they would do like because we've talked about this on future episodes of how they used to like have the castles in the background that what used to be hand drawn, painted, and stuff like that, and shot through like the different lenses to make it appear like that stuff is just incredible. And honestly, before its time, I know that things were going on a little bit before that with CGI and stuff, but it was still way in advance than how they were able to pull things off. And on top of that, I think they did a great job. Now, I never read the books in their entirety, but I know between you, I know between other people that talk about the books in the series, they pretty much nailed what was in the books. So hats
Yeah.
off to Lord of the Rings. I think it's always most likely always going to be number one. I don't see another franchise coming up that could potentially beat it. I mean, we even look at like when we say best trilogy, The Hobbit. I don't think The Hobbit is really in anybody's best trilogy list anywhere because I think The Hobbit fails in comparison to what its predecessor, Lord of the Rings, put through.
Yeah, it's hard to beat that. And Peter Jackson was going to make a Hobbit right away, but he had to deal with a lawsuit with New Line Cinema because they said that Lord of the Rings was a failure at the box office, which is not true.
Yeah,
So
that's
he had to fight for his money. But I've read the books. I read them last year. Things that the movies chose to do that I actually like better. Like I like how the movie did it better. Um, One thing to know about the books is there's a lot more songs. So it's kind of like a musical almost, is every character has a song that they sing, and it takes like almost half a page. And but I like one of the things that they didn't involve in the movies that is in the books is that when the hobbits returned to the Shire at Return of the King, there was actually a big, huge battle for the Shire that they did not involve in the movies at all, which I wish they would have because that battle is really cool. And they have, and then Aragorn, excuse me, and Gandalf went on a long hunt for Gollum, which they're coming out of the movie next year called The Hunt for Gollum. That is when Gandalf dropped the ring off at the Shire, and then I think there was a huge like 20-year span where Frodo had this ring and didn't do anything with it. And then they went hunting for Gollum, which is what the movie will be about, which I'm really curious because there's a big chunk in the book about that and it's really interesting. So if you haven't read the books, you should read the books because you know the movies, you've seen it. So going through the books will be easier for you because you know the movie. And then you'll see what's not in the movie, like Tom Bombadil, but you don't even know who that is. And he's a big character in the in the book. So, but I think it's smart that they left him out because it'd be probably another hour or two long. So I like what the movies did. I like what they kept in. They kept a lot of hidden detail into the from the book. You could tell that they love the book, and that's what's really cool about it. So yeah, Lord of the Rings, best trilogy of all time. It's gonna be hard to beat it.
yeah. No, I agree. And there's going to be some
Now, I'm surprised that Avatar is not in.
we're jumping into some of these categories here. Remember, we got some honorable mentions that we could talk about, and we got some what I'm going to call so close yet so far away type films. So, Chase, you want to do some like should we talk about honorable mentions first, or you want to do the so
Okay,
close yet so far away? Which one? Which one do you want to do?
let's do honorable mentions because I have. Let's do honorable mentions.
Okay.
Let's start with that one. I chose John Wick because John Wick movies are really good. They haven't come out the fifth one, which I'm hoping they do. Uh, I wouldn't say that they got better. as it went because I didn't really care for two or three, which that might be a sin in the John Wick world. But I did like the fourth one a lot. Um, and what I didn't like about the second one was some of the fighting scenes. They had like a garage fighting scene. It was just wide in the open, and then you can tell how when you have this wide lens on a fight scene, you can easily pick out that they're not really fighting in real life, obviously because they have fake punches and fake kicks and all that. So if you're ever gonna do a fighting scene, you should always try to do it in an enclosed area or have the shots tighter. That would make it better. But I still really like John Wick. I think that's a good series. So yeah, that's my honorable mention.
I have Back to the Future as an honorable mention. I know Back to the Future 3 didn't really appease a lot of people, but I still think in a collective, I think what they were able to accomplish, I think Back to the Future will stand as one of the best trilogies out there. It won't be in anybody's top 10. It might not even crack the top 20, but it might be top 25 worthy out there. At least until somebody comes along like
I
a
would,
Dune and knocks them off.
yeah,
Um, another potential or another honorable mention, which I think Chase would have on. Actually, I'm going to let you mention that one because it wouldn't be fair if I mentioned it. Um, I'm going to say Avatar should be there. But the issue becomes the third one was slightly a letdown for me, and I've talked about that on the channel. But I still think in
yeah.
cinema history, I still think that stands the test of time as a good wrap up trilogy. But I just couldn't put it there.
I'm
I'm
shocked. I thought you'd have it up there. I really did. So
No,
kudos to
see,
you.
the third one, like I said, the third one's the issue to me. So I just couldn't put it there. Although I'm going to say another honorable mention in which I'm slightly bending the rules, Chase. So you're gonna have to follow along here a little bit with this. I chose the Captain America movies as a great trilogy. I'm not saying Marvel in a row, but the Captain America standalones between the first Avenger, Winter Soldier, and Civil War, a fantastic trilogy right there. Now, obviously, you have Captain America: Brave New World, the fourth one, which does not matter because it doesn't exist. But we have that three right there.
I would, yeah. I think those three are good. And for look, like, I would even put Guardians of the Galaxy up there. I think those ones were really good too. I actually never thought of superhero. Anytime I think about movies, Marvel just doesn't enter my head because I get tired of Marvel very, very, very easily. But um, yeah, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a pretty films. Trying to think if there was anything else.
I was gonna say
Like I said, like you
I
could.
didn't see the third one. What I will say is I'm surprised, Chase, that The Godfather didn't make your honorable mentions.
That's because I hate part three.
Yeah.
And the rule was is that every film I liked, which
Yep.
really bummed me out because I was laying in bed this morning thinking about it, and I was like, I can't involve Godfather. If number three was just as good as the other ones, it would probably almost be Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
But the third one came out like almost 2 decades later, and it just didn't hold up. But the first two Godfathers are incredible. Probably considered probably one of the best pieces of film ever. Like it's, I think Godfather is ranked number two as the most high rated film of all time, next to Shawshank Redemption.
Well, I mean, you also have him because the next category that I had was the So Close Yet So Far Away, which is probably where The Godfather would be for you. Um, by default, So Close Yet So Far Away is the Hunger Games. I'm a big Hunger Games fan, but they did the Harry Potter approach and the Twilight approach, and where they split the third one into two, so it's a four. So
Yeah,
there's nowhere that I can give a perfect trilogy when they split it into four. Because like, what do you choose? Because you need that
yeah,
other one and you need the first one. So kind of stinks there. And same thing for Harry Potter. I think a lot of people, I'm sure there's people in this comment section that can group three Harry Potter films in a row in a perfect trilogy. I just never put them there.
yeah,
Um, Alien was a franchise in which if Alien 3 didn't happen or wasn't how it was, I would say Alien, the first three are in there. but Alien
Yeah.
3 again leaves it out. I think Terminator, the first two Terminators, but that third one, man, we start
Yeah.
going away again. So that's the so close yet so far away category for me. Those three right there.
But if I watch Terminator 3, I'll enjoy it. Like I'll sit and watch it and enjoy it. But it's also because when I was a kid, I thought she was very attractive and I was like, look at her. And that's probably why I really liked it. But there are worse films than Terminator 3.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think I think Alien 3 and even the fourth Alien is way worse.
Oh, absolutely. But like I said, it's like a Godfather thing. You flesh up the final one in that trilogy, and it probably bumps a few of them out in our top.
I would put Mad Max in that category as well. Road Warrior is really good, Mad Max 2, but then you have the Return to the Thunderdome, and I just don't care for Tina Turner. I didn't care for her in that movie, so kind of threw me off. Which I know a lot of fans probably hate that, but for me personally, I just didn't care for the third one. But I love Mad Max, so
I honestly enjoyed the Planet of the Apes movies too, but I can't even say that I'd put them in a good trilogy. I can't, which is unfortunate because I think I enjoy all of them just for the idea of what they're able to do with building with the world. Because it's
yeah,
not really a character based film at that point. Like you and me had saw I think what was it, War for the Planet of the Apes film or War for the
yeah,
Kingdom of the Planet. They keep adding words, so it's War for something of the Kingdom of the Century of the Planet of the Apes, whatever. But yeah, it just I can't say that there's something clearly missing that's gonna push it even out of my honorable mentions.
yeah. Easy way to remember is the first one's Rise, Dawn, War, and Kingdom. That's the only way I can remember it because you're right, the titles do get very long. So just remember it that way.
No, but
I think
I oh sorry, go ahead.
another one I can bring up is the original Superman. Um, they're classics to me. I like Superman. Superman's a really fun superhero. I've always enjoyed it. So, the Christopher Reeves one, I think those are pretty good, solid films. Um, even to the Quest of Peace, I think those are good. Uh, they're obviously made in the 70s, so they're not going to have the effects. I feel like I have to remind people of that because they're like, oh, it's just not as good. Yeah, well, they didn't have what we have nowadays. And even though Man of Steel came out and has a lot of action, it's still blurry when you watch the action. So is the obviously practical effects is even better. That's why I think Lord of the Rings did better than The Hobbit, because Lord of the Rings did practical effects, while The Hobbit used more CGI and GoPro footage and that doesn't do as well.
Mhm.
But I still like the Hobbit trilogy. I'd bring that one up because even though it's only one book and they split up to three, the movies kind of fit with the Hobbit, like the book, very well. Except Legolas was not in the book at all. But when you look at notes from Tolkien, he wanted to add Legolas into the Hobbit and he never got to. So that tells me that Peter Jackson's a huge fan of Tolkien, and he's like, you know what? He wanted to involve him and he couldn't, so I'm going to put him in the movie. That's really cool. So you have a different look at that. I mean, like, oh, he was supposed to be in The Hobbit, but he wasn't. So that's really cool. That's a cool little detail that usually people don't usually know unless you look it up. So I put The Hobbit in there. I do enjoy The Hobbit.
There's two, and we had mentioned Dune earlier. Dune, depending on how the third one does in both of our eyes, or in the community's eyes, you're probably looking at a top trilogy right there. I will say an underrated one because they are working on a third one, which I don't know why they're working on a third one because I think one and two were just good. Like when I say just good, they're great, but I don't think we needed another one. Top Gun. If the third Top Gun movie is good, I think we have a debate.
Hmm. I still haven't seen Top Gun ever.
Yeah. Well, Maverick to me is better than the original. And I know there's a lot of people. I guess it kind of depends on what you saw first, what era you're born, probably for that argument. It's fascinating. I think we both kind of had the same feeling on the Jurassic Park series.
I didn't
Like
even
I,
think of
well, the thing is, like the original three Jurassic Parks, we get to Jurassic Park 3, and you're like, eh. And then you get to take the Jurassic Worlds. I like um, Jurassic World. I like the Fallen Kingdom, but then you get to Dominion, and it's like, eh. So like it's that's a weird franchise too, where kind of like the third one, like the one where it should be the pinnacle, kind of just drops off.
The problem there was overhyping. I
Yeah.
talked about this before. Same with Stranger Things. It overhyped it, and it's hard to keep that momentum. It's uh, yeah, that's what Jurassic World did. They overhyped it because the ending of Fallen Kingdom was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen in the next one? And you're so excited, but then it is just another typical film. They could have done so much.
I almost put the Deadpool movies as a good trilogy. I almost did. The issue is I wasn't a big fan of Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2. Deadpool Wolverine. Good.
It was fun.
Deadpool 2. Mm.
I'm just tired of Ryan Reynolds, personally. He's the same person. Like ever
Yeah.
since Deadpool came out, he just plays that character in every movie. And at some point, it's like, all right, I like an actor who can play multiple characters, like Gary Oldman or Daniel Day-Lewis. But
Yeah, no, I get it. But tell me, guys, what do you guys think? Comment in the comment section below. If you guys have a trilogy that's your favorite that we left off, or just be against the norm, kind of, and just give us like a, hey, we like this one, even though you hated it, go ahead. Just tell us about your opinions, and we'll be sure to read and comment, maybe even, and like maybe even mention you in a future episode. So, Chase, where can people find you at?
Instagram, I'm on Instagram. True Life Pictures is also on Instagram and Facebook. And if you have LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us for Movie Mayhem. I'm Donnie Shields. That's Chase Morgan Hewlett, and we'll talk to you on the next episode.